Hello and welcome everyone. I want to thank everyone who has joined today. We appreciate you guys making time for us. So let us start quickly. I am Kiran Nair. I lead the customer success team over here at Uffizio, and I address basically all the clientele needs and provide proactive solutions, helping them achieve most of our software services. Without much ado, let me point out that it is indeed a privilege to co-host this webinar with Marius, who is from our hardware partner, Teltonika. We have joined hands to spend time and reflect on the changing trends in the telematics industry and brainstorm on the reliable solutions. So today we'll be speculating on the EV trend, its challenges, and how we can overcome them with the right technology. Also, please feel free to post your questions. We have a technical support team as well over the call. So who can answer your questions anytime during the webinar. And also we have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar as well. Now coming to the EV, the dream of converting every car into an EV might be of Elon Musk, but you'll see how the hardware and the software providers of the telematics industry can actually make that happen. So to make a world driven by EV is a reality, we need to address and anticipate its challenges as well. So in today's webinar, we will map them out and discuss ways to overcome them. So before we get into the details, let me give you a quick overview of Uffizio. So we at Uffizio offer customizable telematics solutions. GPS technology combined with the internet connectivity is a force to be reckoned with, and we bring them into play. So you get the best business acumen for higher scalability and profits. We've got 20 years of experience to back us up regarding our services, and we are renowned for our customization and on-demand integrations. We, with about 400 plus channel partners, 1200 plus integrated devices, and more than 500,000 live assets, we stand tall in the telematics industry. Not to toot our own horn, but Uffizio is truly a synergistic company. We are customer driven and aim to provide a complete suite of telematic solutions that certainly helps business grow. We don't just want to meet your expectations, we want to exceed them every time. Now I'll just pass this on to Marius.
Thank you, Karan. Good to meet you all here today. So as Karan introduced, my name is Marius. I'm covering the business development for the Middle East and in the region for Teltonika Smart Autonomous Solution Division. Some of you know Teltonika probably already, some of you don't. So I'll just briefly introduce the Teltonika as a company, what we do, who we are. So Teltonika has more than 22 years experience and know-how in the IoT hardware manufacturing. We are the global manufacturers of the IoT solutions, IoT hardware, with our presence in every single continent, basically. We have our local sales and support offices in North America. We have the local sales and support office in India. Indeed, there are 3 offices in India, and all our local operations, they're done from the local offices. So overall, the company is more than 1,300 employees. Basically, we keep growing every year. More than 27 offices worldwide established already. And basically, you will find more than 10 million of Teltonika devices already deployed worldwide in different applications, different use cases, including the EV, electric vehicle tracking applications. What does Teltonika do? What segments we are covering? We are covering several segments. The major one, maybe I would start, is the telematics division. As well, we do manufacture the networks, the networking routers, the GPS routers for the industrial networking. We do offer electronic manufacturing services for the companies who have their own products but don't have a factory simply, so we can offer to assemble the products in our factory. Telematic is a new product segment for Teltonika. We're just starting with that. So this year we'll be introducing the first product portfolio for the telematic industry as well. and the Smart Autonomous Solutions Division. So the Smart Autonomous Solutions Division, this is the one I am representing. And you can see that the words talk for themselves, smart and autonomous. So we are focusing on smart and autonomous solutions, which mostly powered by the batteries, which are autonomous. And as well, we cover different product segments. So first is the personal trackers, second is the asset trackers, and the major focus is on the electric mobility and electric micro mobility. So this is, we got a specific products for that, and one of those products we will be introducing for you today, which is designed specifically for the electric vehicles. We'll be talking more like about 2 and 3 wheelers. So this is what Teltonika, and this is what we do. Thanks, Grant. The word is back to you.
Okay. So getting back to the agenda of this meet. So let's discuss why EVs are a tempting choice now and why they have piqued the interest of an increasing number of fleet managers. So the most obvious reason is that EVs are good for the environment and they leave a very low carbon footprint. So as opposed to ICEs or internal combustion engines, electric drive vehicles employ electric motors for propulsion. So in the wake of climate change and the ongoing energy crisis, EVs reduce human reliability on fossil fuels and non-renewable sources of energy. So when compared to the ICE vehicles, EVs emit zero localized emissions, meaning no more discharge from the car exhaust pipes. And also they are easy on your wallets. So EV operating costs are reported to be half as much as ICE vehicles. Unlike ICEs, electric cars deploy regenerative braking that recovers energy that would otherwise get lost. So EVs retract the kinetic energy produced by the forward motions of the car and utilize that for braking. So the regenerative braking takes a lesser toll on the brakes and the wheels and tires, hence consequently lowering your vehicular maintenance cost. The most important thing would be that the EVs are more energy efficient. So EVs convert roughly 77% of electric energy, while an ICE would be able to convert roughly about 12 to 13% only. So hence EVs are approximately 4 times more energy efficient than an ICE vehicle. So EVs are basically quieter, they drive smoother, and have a stronger accelerations than the ICE. So EVs have a greater torque, which is instantly available without any lag. Now, these are all the benefits of having an EV. So, but despite all these benefits, so why is there a hesitance in accepting EV as a means of transport and conveyance? So these are basically the challenges. So considering the Indian subcontinent, the most obvious challenge would be regarding the temperature changes. There is a great deal of talk on how the batteries of the EVs would function in a country like India, which has like a tropical climate. So higher temperatures can actually reduce the durability and performance of the lithium ion batteries, which are primarily used in the EVs. So the temperature changes can affect the battery range. Higher temperature declines the battery range. So an ambient temperature of roughly about 25 to 40 degrees Celsius is required for the ideal EV functionality, which may not always be the case considering the seasonal changes. Then there is the unknown performance history of EVs. EVs are supposed to be the Gen Z of vehicle transport. That is a given. But understandably, there are not enough EVs on the road at the moment to set a benchmark for that. So there is a lack of statistics and numbers to supplement the EV performance and functionality, and it might be a source of concern. Then there is the most common range anxiety. So every EV user needs to know how long their EV can actually be on the road before it needs to be charged again. So range anxiety is a fear that an EV won't have enough range to complete its duty on a single charge, forcing it to maybe return to recharge, thus costing valuable business time and money. So no fleet manager wants to worry about stranded employees and like basically waste resources getting them back. Then finally, there is the battery life. So EV batteries can cost a fortune. So hence, fleet managers would want to reduce its maintenance or replacement costs. For instance, it's very tempting to overuse the fast charging mode or use the counterfeit charging accessories. So such actions may seem cost effective like right now, but it can adversely affect the EV's battery life in the long run. Now, to overcome the above challenges, you need the right hardware, which can prove to be a game changer in the competitive market. So I pass it on to Marius, who can enlighten more on this.
Thank you, Karan. Karan basically introduced you the major problematics, where the EV segment is facing, and what challenges we are facing today with all this EV revolution. For all this, to address all the problematics, you need a data, right? You need a data from the scooter, you need a data from the battery BMS system, the battery itself. And Teltonika comes here in hand to help you to fight those challenges, providing you the connectivity, IoT connectivity to your electric vehicle. For that purpose, Teltonika designed the product specifically designed for the electric vehicle. It is called the FT100. So what we do offer with this product is a standard. This product comes with a power supply of the high voltage power supply of 10 to 97 volts. So basically, it does support various types of the electric vehicles, no matter what voltage battery it is. We will cover that all. This helps you during installation and the maintenance to install device, the FT100 onto your electric vehicle. You don't need any DC-DC converters. Which again will help you during the installation to reduce the time, the cost of the installation, at the same time to reduce the cost of the maintenance in the long term. Of course, it's a standard that comes with the standard digital inputs, digital outputs, analog inputs to control your vehicle, to monitor some basic parameters from a vehicle like ignition, the motor voltage, let's say, or additional sensors. So that comes as a standard. Teltonika does offer at the same time the firmware and configuration update over the air. So the configure device, you don't need to access it physically. You can always do it remotely by using Teltonika dedicated photo web service, which comes as a value of the product. But what I'm talking here about high voltage digital inputs, outputs, this is just the basics, right? We're talking about the basics, but this device is not a basic. It's not a basic tracker. It is an advanced solution to use it for the wider range of the applications. Because we do offer not just high voltage and digital inputs and outputs, we do offer as well the different interfaces to connect this device to the battery BMS system or to scooter controller as well to read all the parameters from there. So it comes in the 4 different hardware modifications, one with the CAN version, second one RS-232, third one RS-485, and UART version. So 4 different hardware modifications to meet any different scooter requirement for the three-wheeler. Basically, what parameters we can get with this device? What basic parameters you can read with this IoT solution? So without even connecting the CAN line or UART to the scooter battery or the controller, you can still immobilize the vehicle as a standard using digital outputs. You can detect ignition using digital inputs. As well, the battery latch lock can be done. Buzzer can be installed additionally for the safety and the security alarming. Driver identification, if necessary, it comes equipped with a one-wire interface. And as well, accelerometer does offer the critical parameters as the fall down detection, crash detection, and as a standard, we offer, of course, remote lock and lock, which can be done over the Bluetooth as well. So as well, the battery voltage reading comes as a standard battery level, which where you can convert the voltage to the percentage of the battery. Locations tracking, of course, is a standard, and the interfaces CAN, RS-485, UART, and RS-232. So the biggest value we see on this product, but it does support the CAN, and there is one very unique feature on our product related to the CAN. It is called a manual CAN feature. So what we do with the manual CAN, we can read the data, the CAN data from any battery BMS, any scooter controller, as long as we have the CAN protocol of that manufacturer of the batteries. Because the way it works, the manual CAN, Each of the CAN protocol has a specific IDs for the specific events. As long as we know the protocol and those IDs, we can upload those IDs into the configuration of the device. That can be done, of course, physically through the cable, or you can do that remotely or with the user using the photo service, as I mentioned previously. So we pick up the IDs, the list of the IDs from the CAN protocol, and we upload it onto the TFT100 configuration. So our device, once it is recognizing that ID from the battery BMS system or the controller of the vehicle, it will pick up the data and it will send it to the server. Okay, so technically, we don't need to do any integrations. There are hundreds, thousands different BMS systems, hundreds different scooter controllers. We don't need to do specific integration for each of them. We just need to get the protocol of that controller, of that BMS system, and we will do the manual configuration on a device, and we will read the data. So what data we can read with manual CAN? What are the most popular parameters we can get through the CAN? So those parameters, they all related to previously challenges, which Karan was addressing, right? So the battery voltage, battery current, battery changing state, and we can get the accurate parameters, okay? Because that comes all from the, for example, battery BMS system. So it is accurately calculated and transmitted to our device. Temperature. The biggest problematic, the battery goes too high in the temperature, it can get damaged, right? So we can immobilize the vehicle if you see that the temperature is in a critical state. State of charge, this is most important probably parameter to all, because the same like IC scooters, they'll have to go to petrol stations to fill in the fuel, right? Now we need to make sure that we know how much of the juice we got on the battery, and we will know what distances we can still cover till the next charge, till the next time we swap the battery. And again, we give the accurate data using the CAN from the battery BMS. Because if you read in just a voltage, for example, the battery can wear out during the time. So the different voltage will come up on the battery, and the converting to the capacity of the battery, that can become not accurate. As well as separate cells voltage and current monitoring, it gives you predictive maintenance. If you see that something is going not right with some of the blocks of the cells, you can maintain the battery, service it, and extend the battery lifetime, which will bring you return on investment in the long term. And as well, one unique feature, the battery immobilization via CAN. So you can send some specific CAN commands to the battery BMS system, and technically this way to immobilize the battery itself. Electric vehicles are unique, right? If you immobilize the battery, the vehicle will not go anywhere. So the trend we are seeing that immobilization is not done anymore on electric vehicles through the digital outputs, through the additional relays, but it is done through the battery BMS system, immobilizing the battery itself, and this way immobilizing the vehicle. Again, less installation cost, no need of the relays, no need of the wiring, additional wiring, you can do it easily. So this is what we can do with the TFT100, the high voltage device. Installation is easy. We can connect to the CAN line, get all the parameters to address the challenges which Karan explained. So we will collect the data, we will send it to Uffizio platform, right? So Karan maybe can share you what you can do with the data.
Yes. So thank you, Marius, for the information on how the right hardware can basically help you stand out from the competition. Now, along with the hardware, the software needs to be equally capable of representing all the valuable information sent from the hardware. So the developers of a GPS-based monitoring platform needs to come up with a solution that can incorporate the EV characteristics and the metrics. So the real-time data and the analytical insights will be valued like never before now. And the world is basically counting on the telematics industry to make this happen. So Uffizio provides you with extremely valuable information you need with respect to your EVs. And the main important things are such as the energy metrics and the state of charge. So state of charge is something that would be like used like a million times when it comes to EV. So the dispatch and the fleet managers need a precise picture of the vehicle's battery charge or what we call over here as SOC or state of charge. So they need this in real time, ideally reported at 1% of change. So hence they can optimize their operations and get the most out of their EVs. So this real-time data can supplement the user's understanding of the charge levels and basically help them resolve any issues that are like related to the charging very proactively. Then we have the real-time charging status. So to make sure that you're getting the maximum utilization of your EV, you may need to optimize the charging times for each vehicle. So Uffizio basically provides you with a live charging status for each vehicle with the ability to set up alerts if a vehicle is supposed to be charging but is not. So knowing each vehicle's real-time charging status prevents the loss of productivity due to insufficiently charged vehicles. Then there is the real-time voltage. So making sure that your EVs are running and getting charged at stable voltages is very important. Though the fluctuating voltages can take a toll on the EV batteries. So you can prevent that by getting the real-time alerts for unusual increase or decrease in the voltages. Then we have the alerts and notifications. So you can get notified when your SOC or the state of charge drops below a defined level or is at a risk of not reaching its destination beforehand. So the driver basically gets the charging reminders when they return to the base, thus increasing the utility and not making EV charging basically an obstacle to the daily operations. The dispatch team can receive email notifications, SMS notifications, alerting them to the fact that the vehicle is now ready for use, or maybe the plug is available to be used by any another vehicle. Then we have the preventive maintenance. So strict maintenance regimes can prevent your EVs from unwanted breakdowns. So you can basically customize your maintenance schedules based on the EV use, maybe its availability, and maybe the anticipated project deadlines as well. So the timely reminders will help you stay on track with the maintenance and the servicing schedules as well. Then there are the driving patterns, which it's basically used can be used in the ICE and the EVs as well. So a smooth driving style can help you bring out the best range. So that's a given. The driving patterns like maintaining optimum speeds or limiting harsh acceleration and braking matter more than ever now. The idling and the unnecessary use of air conditioners or heaters can further reduce the range of the EV. So to implement proper driving behaviors by setting the violations for overspeeding, harsh braking, or idling, etc., can basically define or economize the driving patterns, and it can greatly boost your EV's performance as well. Then finally, we have the analytics and the reports. So getting detailed reports regarding the EV mileage or its charging hours or the battery life. So like these insights are can be converted into actionable numbers, and that help you understand the lucrative aspect of your EV fleet and then fix them for the higher yields. Then finally, one of the most important thing would be the battery cycle. So you can get the analytics on the battery cycles of your EV. Battery cycles are basically the number of charge and discharge cycles. So this basically allows you to assess the real life battery cycle against the estimated battery cycle promised or provided by the manufacturer. So these are the various informations that a good software which Uffizio has will be able to provide you with. Now, these software or combined with the hardware capabilities can be used at in a variety of domains. So these are the various use cases where EVs can be used. So the obvious ones being like the e-scooter sharing, so which is on the rise now more than ever. So India now leads the world in scooter sharing. A lot of companies are adopting EVs as a part of their shared mobility offerings. So then there's the last mile delivery. EVs are indeed the future of the last mile delivery. They are cost effective, they're convenient and easy to maintain as well. So they provide a distinct advantage to the market players in the last mile delivery segment of things. Then there's the rental and leasing domains. So this is a very promising use case when it comes to EV in India. The vehicle rental industry has been around for ages now in India, mainly focusing on the numerous tourist locations. So now the industry is looking for electrification as well. So this would be beneficial for the rentee to due to the advantages that EVs possess, and would be a lot cheaper than the ICE vehicles as well. We have the anti-theft use case as well. The e-scooter sharing and rental and leasing business comes with its own risk, and the major one is their vehicle security. EVs can easily be integrated with anti-theft mechanisms to overcome this challenge and thereby securing the vehicle. Now, these, as I mentioned before, are obvious use cases of EVs, but the scope of EV is much more than this. Marius will help us understand some of the unexplored but very promising use cases for EVs.
Thank you, Karan. So yes, basically the scooter sharing, last mile delivery, rental and leasing, and the standard anti-theft applications, as well as the OEM applications, they are standard, right? But it does not mean that this is the limit of what we can do with the Teltonika FT100 device and the Uffizio platform, as there are lots of different use cases as well available. The electrification is not just in the like a sharing application, right? Electrification is happening as well in the government projects, specifically for the waste management systems, right? That part is getting electrified as well, and the transport will be electric as well. We can offer IoT connectivity for that. For example, TFT100 does come not as just a tracker for the electric vehicle, but it can be connected, for example, with the RF ID reader, RS over RS232, and this way, each time the bin is collected, the RFID tag can be scanned, and this way, there will be task recorded that the job was done. Another worth thing to mention, the e-forklifts. Okay, this is again another part of the business where is seeing the electrification, and in the future, the majority of the forklifts, again, they're going to be electric, and we will be facing the same problematic, right? We are facing the same problematic. The batteries needs to be monitored. They're expensive. And talking about the electric forklift, the battery, it is one of the most expensive components of the forklift. So you need to monitor, you need to maintain it to make sure it does work, that the lifetime is gets extended, and it does not cost you much money to run it. So the same, you can offer TFT100 to monitor the battery parameters, as well for the forklift to connect additional sensors like a load sensor, driver identification, monitor the working hours, which is the requirement, but the leasing hours, as the warranty is based on that. So the forklift is another thing to consider. Electric ones for the same TFT100 and Uffizio solution. And maybe one application which we have not discussed is the battery swapping station. This is a big thing in India, right? I mentioned earlier that basically the ICE scooters, before to run the miles, the additional kilometers, you had to go to the petrol station to fill in the fuel. With the electric vehicles, you're going to have to go to change the battery, okay? Because if you are the taxi driver, or even you're running the sharing business, you're going to have to do it, right? You're going to have to give a juice to for your vehicle to travel the kilometers. So the battery swapping station is booming at the moment. And at the same time, the same solution can be offered for such a business applications. So, and of course, this is not the limit, right? There are lots of different use cases, different client needs, different requirements, and I'm sure we can cover that all, because you mentioned the hardware from Teltonika is advanced. It's got all the features available, basically, you will not find on any other IoT solution. And as well, the Uffizio will make sure that the dashboards and the data, will be showed to address all the problematics. So this is pretty much that's it about use cases. And Karan, the word is back to you.
Thank you, Marius, for shedding light on these promising use cases. So that's it, guys. We have seen today how this electric vehicle is the next best big thing, and what can be the challenges in EV adoption, and basically how we can overcome that with the right software and the hardware. So I hope this session was interesting and informative as well for everybody. So now let's move on to some Q&As from our viewers.
So by the way, Karan has maybe mentioned on the screen, you can see now the contact details separately for Uffizio and Teltonika. So all the questions related to the hardware, specifically TFT100, they should be addressed to Teltonika, and as well any questions regarding the software, the Uffizio platform, they should be addressed to the Uffizio.